What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to this impromptu late night agenda, because I was late obviously joining the guys for Cup of the Week, so I said to make up for it, I'd come on and I would do 20-25 minutes of absolutely anything that you want to talk about. Now, as always, and as you will see from the top corner, this stream has been brought to you with thanks to and presented to you by Manscaped. You can get 25% off the all-new Manscaped Perfect Package or Performance Package 4.0 by going to manscaped.com, putting in our code WFM20. The fantastic Performance Package 4.0 includes the all-new Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, your boxer briefs, of course, your ball toner and your ball deodorant, so you're really pampering those nuts. And of course you get our discount, and it all comes in a lovely little bag. They call it the Shed, and a lovely box as well that does say on it your balls will thank you later. So as always, massive thank you, massive shout out to the guys at Manscaped. You wouldn't be able to do these shows without them. If you want to get yourself 20% off, WFM20 at manscaped.com. I can honestly say to you, the Performance Package 4.0 has changed the way I look at my nuts forever. They seem a lot bigger these days, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Right, you wonderful people, how are we? Apologies that I was a few minutes late for everything today, but my electricity went and it came on at 9:05, and then I was struggling to get the router sorted out to get back online so I could do the stream. But yeah, I felt guilty. So I want to try and give back. I want to try and give back to you amazing people. So how are we? What do we want to talk about today? You're looking slim. Well, I'm not, but thank you. Maybe it's the white. Maybe it's a trick of the light, I don't know, but either way, how are we? Look, let's start off with a bit of a na 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 na, hey Jude, because I did promise somebody in the last one I give it a bash. Right, what do we want to talk about? Transfer clock is a ticking. I'm going to record my Burnley preview. That'll be out tomorrow, so, get ready for that one. That'll be dropping. If I can ask you guys a little bit of a favour, we did put out the One Football video earlier on today. If you can go and check that out, it's about 11 minutes long. It basically covers all the latest Liverpool news and rumours as well. Lewandowski. So, let's talk about Lewandowski. Let's get straight into this one. It's such a tough one, isn't it? Because if you look at his age and you look at the price tag that Bayern are talking about, what is it Bayern? Lewandowski's 33 now, if my memory is correct, and he is a goal scoring phenom. He is a goal scoring machine, and I think he's a player. I've got absolute egg on my face over this, because I said to Connor about a year and a half ago, I think he's finished, and I'm always happy to put my hands up when I'm wrong, and I seem to be putting my hands up a lot these days, but hey, thus is life. But I've got to be honest with you, the idea of us ever paying €100 million for Robert Lewandowski, or us signing a 35-year-old Robert Lewandowski, I don't know how I'd feel about it. I suppose I'd have to wait until we see how he gets on over the next couple of years at Bayern Munich, but I mean, as much as Klopp loves him, as much as Klopp's spoken about the fact that he's, the best player he's ever worked with, I just can't see a way that it would make any sense. Craig, do you expect Origi to move? Looks like he doesn't want to go. Yeah, it's tough, because you don't want the club to get to a point where they say to him, look, Divock, there are offers here for you, mate. We can't guarantee you game time, so realistically, you're going to spend a lot of the season either in the matchday squads and not getting any game time, or playing with the under-23s or whatever, just to try and keep your fitness up. You don't want the club to get snooty about it, because you want both parties to be happy. There is talk that 3 Premier League clubs are in for him, so let me just go through that. There's talk that from the Telegraph that Crystal Palace, Wolves and West Ham are all tracking Divock Origi and keeping an eye on him before the window closes at 11 p.m. on August the 31st. So let's wait and see what happens. But what I don't want to happen is for us to be rushing these things through and having no time then to get another player in. So let's say Origi holds off until a day or two before the window closes. Are Liverpool going to be brave enough to go out there and bring in a player hoping that they move Origi on, or will they, blink and then we'll be left potentially with an Origi on, I think his wages are about 60 grand a week before bonuses, if my memory's right, which is something the club can't really afford to carry throughout the season. An extra body, an extra set of wages and an extra set of bonuses. So Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, is the honest answer. Shaqiri, I'm almost 100% certain Shaqiri will move very shortly. I think in the coming days we'll probably see more news on the Shaqiri stuff. He's certainly on the way out the door, and it just remains a matter of will the club get one or two over the line before that window closes. And I'm fairly confident on one. I am very less so confident on two at this point, if I'm being honest with you. But one thing that has interested me a lot has been the conversation in the media about what position we actually do need to strengthen. So if you listen to the likes of Jamie Carragher or Gary Neville or Graham Souness or a lot of the pros, actually, they seem to think that midfield could be the area we could find ourselves a little bit unstuck in. Now, on the face of it, if you look at our midfield and you start listing off the players in there, your Thiago, Henderson, Milner, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, you know, who else am I missing out? Milner, that's 6. Thiago, there's about 7 or 8 anyway. On the face of it, that all looks great. 7 or 8 players, 3 positions, but you think to yourself, at least 2 of those, probably 3 of them, are going to pick up knocks, and it's only going to be a matter of how long those knocks will keep them out for. Because let's be honest, Hendo has been prone to some injuries. Thiago has been prone to some injuries. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita have been, to say prone, I think is a bit generous, but yeah, so I'm wondering, where is the one position? If there's going to be one position, is it more prudent to get somebody in midfield who can perhaps play on the front foot? Maybe a Houssem Aouar, maybe somebody of that ilk? Or, you know, was the point Steve was making earlier on about not blocking a pathway through for a Cade Gordon or a Harvey Elliott and Lewandowski and stunting the development by adding a forward? It is a head scratcher because, you know, you don't want to just sign somebody to cover for the AFCON because that would be the height of stupidity, but it is certainly something that we need to keep at the back of our minds. Thoughts on Shaqiri plus Aouar? Thoughts on Shaqiri for Aouar plus money? I wouldn't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. Now, the only issue is that publicly the talk from Lyon is that he is a bit of a destabilising factor, Houssem Aouar, right now in the Lyon dressing room. Now, that could be because he wants to move. I don't know what his temperament or his behaviour has been like for the previous 3 or 4 years. I haven't got a clue. But, you know, he wouldn't be the first and he won't be the last player that tries to engineer a move out of a club for himself. And if you look at it from his perspective, he's looked and he's seen Memphis Depay move on. He's looked at it and he's seen... who else? Was it Dembele? Other players have moved on from Lyon in the past, and yet he's still there. So, if Klopp would be happy that his attitude is fine, I mean, yeah, I think add another 12 to 15 million on top of Shaqiri and you would have got yourself very good value there in a 23-year-old player. Nice polo shirt, thank you. It was a present from my wife, actually, so I should be thanking her for that one. Craig, any plans on coming to the UK anytime soon? Score predictions for the weekend? Not doing the score predictions because I'm going to be recording them as soon as I finish this, but yes, I'll be over in Leeds from the 3rd to the 5th of September. Myself and Connor are going over to Leeds / Bradford to watch some boxing. So we're going over there to watch Josh Warrington fight Lara, and Katie Taylor's on the undercard. So we'll be in and around Leeds for a few days. I think Bradford are playing Walsall that day, so we may go to that. Then we're going to be over in London later on in the month for AJ against Alexander Usyk. But if you're talking about coming over with regards to doing some Anfield Agenda meetups, it's definitely something we're looking to do. I was actually just saying to the two guys before we finished our chat and after the stream that we want to do a European tour. We want not a tour, one gig. So we want to go for a 4-day jolly up to one city. So if you are that city, whether it be Mallorca, whether it be Prague, whether it be Stockholm, I don't know. If you're watching right now and you run a Liverpool bar or you have a Liverpool supporters club, we are absolutely up for coming over and doing a live podcast or a live show from the premises and spending a couple of days in the city. It's something we want to do. Something I want to do as a thank you to the guys as well, to Steve and Jack. to just reward them for all of the hard work as well. So yeah, just get in contact if that is the case. I mean, Mallorca has been mentioned to us quite a bit because there's a big Reds population out there. It's an island I know very well, and somewhere I'd be more than happy to go on a jolly up with the lads for a few days as well, to be honest. So yeah, do keep that in mind, and you know what the contact email address is. It's contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. Right. Craig, you've loads of nice tops. Time to auction some MJ ones for charity. I do pride myself on being a chav, as I've said to you, and I do like my gear. I won't lie. I like me hoodies. I like my polo shirts. I like my football shirts, and I like my trainers. It's probably, I don't drink, I don't smoke, so it's definitely where a lot of my spare money goes. Is on stuff like, which is weird considering I don't even leave the house. So I want to look good for I don't know what reason, but they are. Do I think Harvey Elliott will have a good season? Yes, I do think he will have a good season. But what I consider a good season for Harvey Elliott, and maybe what you guys would consider a good season, could be completely different. So for me, if Harvey Elliott gets 10 starts at all competitions this season and maybe 8 to 10 appearances, maybe in 5 to 8 appearances off the bench, grab himself a couple of goals, to me that's progress. Good game time, more knowledge with the starting 11. Again, more use in pressurised environments. So that would be a successful season for me for Harvey Elliott. Would you go Origi and money for Eze if he wasn't injured? So are we talking about Eze, the guy from Crystal Palace? And again, I'm doing this on the fly. So if it's the young guy from Crystal Palace, he certainly looks a talent. But if he is injured, and I'm taking you at face value that he is injured, then we won't be signing anybody who's injured. So it's all hypothetical. I mean, Pedro Neto, I think one of the main reasons that we're not going to be in for him in this window is the fact that he's out until probably October, November time. And I think we may have made a move if he wasn't injured. The presence of Origi depresses me. Sell him, says, I don't know if I even want to say your first name or your second name. Actually, I don't even know if I want to address your comment too much, but I think he will. To address it to some degree, I think he may move on if a move that works for him. And it should work for him as well as the club, of course. Nobody should be forced out. Now, it is, of course, Liverpool's prerogative if they don't want to include him in matchday squads or whatever, but he signed a contract. We signed a contract as a club towards him as well, and it works both ways. With the Lewandowski stuff, I would never pay 100 million on his wages for a 35-year-old striker. Yeah, look, I'm with you. It's pie in the sky stuff. And I can think of very, very better ways of spending that type of money and wages. But look, as we're all in agreement, Lewandowski is a superstar. Lewandowski is a goal-scoring machine, the likes of which we won't see for quite a while. Maybe until Haaland decides to up his numbers even more so. But yeah, look, Lewandowski is a special player, and certainly somebody that I think will always have a good long-term bond and relationship with Jurgen Klopp, because Klopp's the one who brought him, from Poland over to Germany for, I don't know how much, I just know it was a ridiculously cheap amount at the time. I think we should go for Doku and then call it a window, said Boy. Look, Jeremy Doku, we know what the situation is. We've seen all the articles that say Doku's in love with Liverpool, and that Ron are open to the idea of selling him. But in an ideal world for both of them, that would be a year down the line. And I include Doku in that. I think he thinks he needs another year's development in him. And just to go back even further, Doku has history of this. And I mean this in a good way, because he could have come to Liverpool at 16 years of age, but chose, I think at the time, to stay with Anderlecht before he made the move to Ron. Because he wanted to develop himself, and he wanted to get game time, and he wanted to be starting week in and week out. And as Steve alluded to in the podcast, or in the Cop the Week show, there's no guarantee that if we brought Jeremy Doku in this season that, one, we don't know how quickly he'll settle, but also how much game time will he realistically get. Great player. Somebody that we will be continuing to look at and could well make a bid for. 50 million euro seems to be the number that has been put in his head by Ron. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, but I can see the pros and cons of moving from in this window, and I can see much more pros if we leave it till the next window. I would almost go as far as to say, if we don't sign him in this window, I'd say he's lined up for the next window, because another year's development, touch wood, he doesn't suffer an injury or anything. And I think that the groundwork has been long put in between Liverpool and him, his family and his representatives, that there's a good relationship there, that I think if he was going to move, we'd be probably very high up the list of clubs. Naby isn't good enough, Craig. We got ripped, said Michael Flood. Well, he certainly is good enough, mate. Now, he hasn't performed well enough. See, there's a distinction there. If you're saying to me that Naby Keita, fully fit, at his very best, isn't good enough for this Liverpool team, I'll very much disagree with you. If you're saying to me that we haven't got value for money yet, I think that's a fair point, because nobody wants Naby to be injured. Naby doesn't want to be injured. Klopp doesn't want him to be injured. The fans don't want him to be injured. His teammates don't want him to be injured. But, touch wood, I think we're going to get to see. I will have him in my starting 11 when I do my predictions for the weekend. And I hope, maybe I'm a bit foolish here, but beyond hope, that we do get to see the best of Naby Keita, because he is a very, very good footballer. And there's a reason so many clubs were in for him when we made the move to Leipzig. Don't forget there was Bayern Munich at the time, Barcelona, Europe's top clubs all looking at the guy. And Michael Edwards had to get a bit creative to make sure that Liverpool were the ones that got his name on the dotted line. But nobody can deny what you've said with regards to it having not been a great start or a great first few years at the club. I mean, we can't argue against that, to be honest. Thoughts on Portsmouth getting promoted? Delighted for them. Delighted for the fans. God, the Portsmouth fan base have been through a lot, and if I'm not mistaken, it is now a fan-owned club, and I think perhaps the biggest fan-owned club, or certainly a fan-owned club, and the mismanagement there that did see them win an FA Cup and did see them have some good players and all that stuff. The fans were the ones that ultimately suffered there down the line because of financial mismanagement and because of the contracts and stuff. So delighted for Portsmouth that they're making their way back up the league tables. What else? I swear if we sign Adama, I won't be happy. I'd be utterly shocked if we sign Adama Traore. I've not heard a sniff about it from anyone that I speak to or any of the journalists or anything. Look, the name keeps getting linked because I said to you guys at the start of the window, I do think that Wolves are open to selling a couple of players. Ruben Neves and Adama Traore are two of those players. So I think the link has been a long-standing one. Ever since Jurgen Klopp said on his day Adama Traore could be unplayable, I think the links have continued. But as I keep pointing out to people, you can't look at him, the price tag, and just forget about the dislocated shoulders, because whatever we think about, does he have enough end product? Is he still a little bit too raw? Will he make it at Liverpool? For me, I can't get past the shoulder stuff, and if he's had 5 or 6 dislocated right shoulders in 2 seasons, that's not something that we need. And we need people who are battle hardened and ready for the robust nature of the Premier League, like Robbo and players that can play 30-35 games a season. And Adama's been benched a bit at Wolves, and if he's been benched a bit at Wolves, I don't see how you can translate that into Adama Traore making it long term at Liverpool. I've always thought that he's not overhyped, because the ability is there, but it's never been one for me where I've really thought that Klopp can even make him the complete player, because I don't think all the dots of his ability can be joined. I just think the end product will always be lacking, in my humble opinion. What did he get last year, by the way? Was it 1 goal and 0 assists, or 0 goals and 1 assist? I remember talking to Dave Azzopardi from Talking Wolves about this, and the number shocked me. It was so bad. Christopher Scott said, thanks for all the content. That is all. My pleasure. No need to thank me, dude. Thank you for watching, as always. Why are we talking about the Billy Gilmore stuff in the chat, by the way? I don't know why that's being mentioned. And look, I've never really touched on that chant. And look, I am somebody who, I won't be a hypocrite. I'll stand against any chant that is in any way derogatory, homophobic, racist, xenophobic, And look, we all know the chant I'm talking about. It's a chant that was a phrase that was actually almost made famous by somebody saying it publicly. It's a well used thing, but it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And I fully stand behind everybody that finds the comment unacceptable and deplorable. And we have to be willing to call out our own on these things, you know, because look, we'll all have slips of the tongues and say stupid shit. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen to me, and I'm sure people will try to end me or cancel me for it. But I have to say, it's I've heard worse when I've been on the cop before, but I don't agree with the chant. I have to say, I was a little bit ashamed, to say the least, because I'm very happy to come on here and point out when other fan bases have acted poorly, and this was not in great taste from what are an amazing group of travelling fans, by the way. I mean, the hardcore away going Liverpool fans are top notch, and I think, if anything, I believe that we can how do I say this? I believe that group will self-police themselves. I believe they will be aware enough and educated enough to stamp this out, and that we won't see it carrying forward, because it's not the inclusive nature of the football club, is it? And you know, times have moved along obviously in the past few years, and you know, these aren't the type of things that we want to have associated with us or with society in general. So look, some people believe it was much ado about nothing, but these are very sensitive and delicate times at the minute, and I believe that we've got to I mean, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a really good example of something that got me into a small bit of trouble. I say no, not even trouble, because I refuse to apologise for it. So somebody called me something on Twitter a few days ago, and I basically called him a window licker in a roundabout way. I'm not even sure if I used that exact phrase. Maybe I said you should concentrate on not chewing the window but licking it, something along those lines. And I still refuse to this minute to stand over and apologise for that, because that is a phrase that I use daily with my mates to slag the shit out of each other. And it means nothing other than you are an idiot or you are stupid. It is not derogatory to anybody who has either mental health issues or is mentally disabled or anything like that, because that would be ridiculous, and I would never say that. But sometimes it's just a matter of where people's thresholds are for certain things. And to me, I'll throw the phrase window licker around in my own house. I'll throw it around with my best mates. I've been called it. It's not something that offends most of the people in my circle, but I do understand why it may offend somebody else. But that's also to some extent not my fucking problem. Do you know what I mean? I will never be intentionally offensive to somebody if I knew that they had a disability, or if I knew that they had, and this person didn't, by the way, so you know, it wasn't like I was slagging somebody called me a load of names, actually, if I'm being honest with you, and I'm somebody who will always put my hands up when I'm wrong, but if I don't think I'm wrong, then you've got zero chance of getting an apology out of me. So I'm just using a scenario there that happened to me recently, and I'm not trying to say that it's comparative to what was aimed at Billy Gilmore. I'm just saying my threshold for what I said was that I think it was okay, and my threshold for what was said to Billy Gilmore I think isn't okay, but that is just my opinion, and that is all I can give, is my opinion. Right, anywho, let's go on. Craig, Jota was usually benched at Wolves, only difference is Jota got goals. Yeah, it's a fair point. I wouldn't say he was usually benched, but I can certainly remember seeing times where Diogo Jota was on the bench at Wolves, and but there was always a player. There was we looked at Diogo Jota and you knew there was a fighter in there. And let's not forget as well, with Diogo Jota, we have years upon years of contacts and information and correspondence that Pep Linders will have had from Portugal on his development and what he was like going through the youth systems. And you know, Diogo Jota was always going to be a very good player. It's just a matter of when. You know, he had so many good moments that you could see it in him. And more importantly, actually, I looked at Diogo Jota and I could see him in a Liverpool team. So I was actually happier we got him over Sarr, if I'm being honest with you, at the time. Peter says, Craig, I'm upset. Why? What are you upset about, Peter? Let me know, mate, and I'll try and resolve it. Salah about to break Drogba's record with about 100 games less played. Salah's just creating ridiculous amounts, mate, and yeah, his goal scoring record is phenomenal. I mean, even if you compare him to Cristiano Ronaldo's, and look, I don't think it's a fair comparison to Ronaldo's time when he was at United, because Ronaldo was a lot younger, but basically what I'm saying here is Mohamed Salah is a god, and that we should be count ourselves very fortunate to be able to be looking at him and watching him play week in and week out. I'm still trying to find out why Peter's upset. Oh, yeah. Oh, so you keep worrying about lots of things and you feel really emotional. Sorry, Peter. I thought it might have been something I said, mate. So, look, anyway, I will keep with your comment. It's a difficult world, mate, at the minute. And I don't know you from Adam, Peter, but what I will say to you, dude, is everything that you're feeling is valid. You know, nobody should underplay what you're feeling, but speak to somebody about it, mate. I don't know if you're an adult or if you're a child or a teenager. If you've got friends, family, a GP, you know, it's all right to be upset, mate. It's all right if I cry a couple of times a week, probably. So yeah, I mean, express your feelings, mate. It's great that you're talking about them. Very brave of you to openly say in a forum like this that you're feeling a bit down and emotional. That's all right, man. It's a tough out world at the minute, and we've had a lot of ups and downs, dude. So nothing to feel embarrassed about, mate. I am, you know, I'm up and down 20 times a day, but all I will say to you, fella, is make sure that you open up about it to somebody, whether it be a family member, whether it be somebody in school, whether it be a doctor or something, and, you know, let them. I'm not a pro, mate. I can't tell you what it is, or if it's anything, or if it's a hormonal thing. So just go and see a professional if you can, dude, and keep in touch and let us know how you get on, because you've got a family here of Reds that love you and that, you know, are hoping to hear some more positive stuff from you in the chat, dude. So stick with it, and just know that we've always got your back here. Our community are always here for you, because a little secret, mate, between me and you, we're all kind of fucked up a little bit. So it's all good, dude. Basically, you know, brighter days are ahead and nothing but love, fella. Just keep that in your mind. We're all fucked up in our own beautiful way. Right, let's get to more stuff. Do you think Tsimikas will get ripped up against Chelsea? I wonder if we'll have Robbo back by that game. I think it could be touch and go. Like, Tsimikas will play against Burnley. I'm very confident against that. But, you know, we've seen Robbo out and doing bits and pieces on the pitch, and okay, maybe the international break would probably be the time after which. But either way, I think if they target Tsimikas, and a lot of the teams that play against us target Trent's side, actually, because of, you know, Trent getting forward a lot more, and Salah being there, and sometimes, like, we were caught out against Norwich down what was their left hand side, their right hand side, and a couple of occasions when we turned over possession when Trent was far upfield. So I guess Klopp will have a plan, and, you know, we'll need to wait and see what way Chelsea set up, what way we set up, and what way the pattern of the game goes. But I'm quite happy with what I've seen so far from Kostas Tsimikas, to be honest with you. Not perfect, has had moments where he dawdled on the ball and wasn't switched on enough, but yeah, all in all, look, Chelsea's going to be a difficult game, isn't it, no matter what? It's going to be a very, very difficult game. Any more news on Saul, says Harry. It's gone really quiet. I don't know if... And when I say it's gone really quiet, I don't mean just from a Liverpool sense, mate. I mean right across the board. I don't know if people are being put off by wage demands, or if maybe Atleti are having a rethink or trying to see if they can bring one in or get another. I don't know. We all thought that once Rodrigo de Paul signed from Udinese that Saul was more than likely Premier League bound. He was being linked with Liverpool. He was being linked with Manchester United. But I had heard, and I can't stand over this because I don't know how true it is or not, but apparently the wage demands were relatively high. Now, I don't know. That's all I can say, is because other than that, I don't know. I don't know what the story is with Saul. I don't know if Liverpool, if he has a move ready that has another move dependent on it. So let's just imagine that Liverpool had him lined up to sign but we need to free up that overseas squad play. So your Origi or your Shaqiri then comes into play, and that could be the case with another club. Maybe they're waiting to move somebody on before they can make a move for Saul. But what I will say is the quietness usually means something's agreed somewhere, and I'm not saying it's Liverpool. So either he's agreed to stay at Atleti, or he has a move lined up that's waiting for something else to fall into place. That's what usually I think of when I think of silence around these type of things. Lovely as always, and exactly what I would have expected as well, to see so many people showing love to Peter in the chat, and you know, just sending him best wishes and well wishes, because that's the type of group that you guys are, and that's why I love you so much. So yeah, big up to all of you. Adam, thank you so much for the super chat, dude. Adam Kanu said, love the show, mate. Thank you. And I love doing it. Yeah, a couple of other good bits and pieces that I can say is, I let the WhatsApp group know about this last night, but I'm delighted to say, and you know, right show to do it and all as well, but Manscaped will be we will be bringing you the Champions League watch-alongs presented to you by Manscaped for the group stages. So Manscaped have come on board to sponsor us for all the Liverpool's Champions League group stage games. So again, that's thanks to you guys. If it wasn't for your support, if it wasn't for you using our code, if you do buy something on Manscaped and stuff, then we wouldn't have these working relationships with such huge companies. So again, thank you to you guys. Delighted to announce that we are going to be working with Manscaped for the Champions League games. I'm very proud of the work we do with Manscaped. They're a tremendous company to work with. To have a company that big wanting to continue to back and work with us, you know, speaks volumes for how far our community have grown, and you guys are to thank for that. So thank you. And again, if you are going to treat yourself to a little something from Manscaped, please do use our code WFM20. W for whiskey, F for Foxtrot, M for Mike, 20, and get yourself 20% off, whether it be the Performance Package 4.0 or anything. Even if it's on sale, our code works with Manscaped. So yeah, lots of love and thank you, because I would say days away from being able to say to you guys that, hi, my name's Craig and I'm a full-time YouTuber. Days away at this point. So, and that all comes because of you guys. So thank you to Manscaped of course as well, but fuck, I love you guys for stuff like this, because I know a lot of you guys have reached out to me and said I've used the code, and that means a lot to us, because it would be very easy for you to go on there and buy something if you were going to buy it or not use the code. But the fact that you have used their code, and the fact that Manscaped see the community that we have, God, I can't tell you how much it means to us. So thank you. I'm eternally grateful for you allowing me to potentially live out my dream, which is to make a living from talking about football, because I was never good enough to make a play in it. So yeah, it's mad, but you love to see it at the same time. And we're going to be making a few new snazzier little Manscaped videos to I know the first one went down really well, but that was the Performance Package 3.0, and we are now in the world of 4.0. So myself and Connor will be recording a few little Manscaped adverts. We're going to have a bit of fun, even more fun than the last time. Craig, what is your future career goal? I don't think of what's next for me. So, look, it's at a point now where I'm going to be going full-time as a YouTuber. It's going to happen in the very near future. But my goals aren't goals for me then. The goals are to make Jack full-time, to, you know, maybe bring somebody else on board, to give back into the community I'm from, and to create workshops and work with youths and show them how to make a podcast and how to do stuff like that. So any success that we may have and may go forward won't see me driving fucking Lambos or whatnot. I mean, I just want, like everyone else, just to live a normal life. But you know, being able to help other people is my main career goal. So being able to get Jack full time in the industry would be amazing. To be able to give Connor some financial security maybe at a young age would be amazing. To be able to bring somebody else on and you know, help introduce the next generation of YouTubers or Irish content creators through is probably where I'm at. That, and I want to get into boxing. That's the only other thing I will say is I want to manoeuvre into boxing at some point, because look, I'm living the dream now talking about football. If I could doubly live the dream doing a bit of boxing stuff as well, then just call me a pig in poo, because I would be very happy indeed. Craig, do you think you'll get another signing or two before the deadline? One, yes, I'm extremely confident on one. Two, I don't know if I'd be so bold as to say two. What else we got? Why was Harry Wilson sold? Because the club deemed that the deal was good enough. The club deemed that it was the fairest thing to Harry Wilson rather than continuously loaning him out. And Wilson obviously fancied the move himself. So, all in all, I think it was just something that suited everybody. And, I wish Harry Wilson all the best. You seem to be putting that in various forms in a lot of Welsh people asking, why did Harry Wilson get sold and we keep Woodburn? Well, Woodburn's going to Hearts on loan, so Ben Woodburn's contract will run down eventually and he'll leave the club. So it's not that we thought Woodburn was better than Wilson and therefore we move Wilson on. We just didn't see that Wilson was ready to come in and be in and around the first team right now. And look, you've got to be fair on these guys as well. Look at Ryan Kent as an example. It's really tough for a young player, a young good prospect like Harry Wilson, to be constantly on loan, never been able to lay down roots, never been able to really, buy a house, start a family, be surrounded by his loved ones. If you're on the road and you're on the move and maybe you're in an apartment, or it's difficult. And I think it was just the right thing for Harry Wilson. Odegaard for 30 million looks like a steal. It does, and do you know what's really odd? Let's look at the business that Arsenal are doing. So Ramsdale, 30 odd million. Odegaard, 30 odd million. Ben White, 50 million. I know I said 50 there, I just can't help myself. So that's what? That's 110. There was some other guy for 17, and then a guy from Benfica, I think, for 3 or 4. So let's say Arsenal have gone out there and dropped 140, 150 million pound. Have they actually improved themselves a lot? Because I would argue outside of Ben White, who is not fully developed yet but will be a good centre back, I can't really say in good conscience that I think Arsenal's board have spent that money well. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I've got to be honest with you, because I will say this out loud and I will be very, very clear about it. I think Ramsdale is shite. I don't think he's a good goalkeeper whatsoever. I didn't even think it was right for Sheffield United to re-sign him when they lost Henderson. I was baffled at the fact that they wanted to bring him back. So the fact that Arsenal are now going to bring him in and have him and Leno, I wouldn't want either of them at Liverpool, to be entirely honest with you. And that's my honest opinion as a former goalkeeper. I think that what they've spent in this window, can you imagine what Klopp and Michael Edwards could have done with that 130, 140 million quid? I mean, let's be fair. Arsenal have not gone out there and done great business. Ben White, I'm not gonna be one of the people who goes in on Ben White, because I said for long enough that Liverpool tracked a guy and he's got loads of great attributes. The thing, and I said this and it's become public knowledge since, but remember who said it to you first. The scouting report, and I did see parts of it, showed that the aerial duels were the thing that stopped Liverpool from really backing up our interest in I was going to say forwarding, that's why the came in there. But aerial duels are a worry from. So if you're Arsenal and you've got Ben White, you probably want Ben White in a 3 where you've got two bigger lads either side of him that are there to either help or to win second ball. So I won't slag off Ben White because I do think there is a good centre back in it, but the rest of the business I just think is it's not great, and I'll be very worried if I'm an Arsenal fan, because look, he brought in Odegaard, right, but he was already there. So have you really gained? If you get me, you had him on loan. I think he's a good player, but you're no stronger than last year because you already had him at the club. The only difference now is you've gone out and spent 30 million to make him your player, which is always the downside of a loan for me. Let's say Liverpool loaned, I don't know, anybody at this moment in time. Let's say Liverpool went out and loaned Haaland. It won't happen, but let's say we loaned Haaland, we brought him in, and he scored 25 goals for us, and we had him for the season, and it was great. And then at the end of that loan period, we buy him. Well, we're no better off, are we? Because we've already had a season of him. Now we just know we've got 3, 4, 5 seasons of him. So it's not really improving on the squad you had before. If you get where I'm coming from. The only added part is you have the longevity of knowing that he's there for 3, 4, 5 years. Hey Craig, thoughts on Chalobah from Chelsea? Look, this guy's legit. He is truly going to be a very, very, very high profile top tier footballer. There's been early comparisons made to Van Dijk by people, and I'm not just talking about people on Twitter, by the way. I'm talking about people who know the game. I don't know enough about Chalobah, but everything that I've read and everything that I've seen about him seems to point to the fact that he is somebody who is destined for good things. And look, we've seen he got a great goal as well for Chelsea recently, but he seems like he's a top quality player from what I've read and seen. And what I've seen is very little, to be honest. Coutinho to return? No, why? Why would we want them? Do you want to pay 400 grand a week for a player who hasn't played since January, who Bayern Munich didn't want to sign, who everybody has turned their noses up at, and who could potentially be used as Baitel or Aubameyang away from Arsenal? That I don't want Coutinho back. He's nowhere near good enough. Why do I want Origi to leave? Why are we getting people using bot accounts? Using multiple accounts to try and put me on the spot for the same questions? Like, I don't know if people think that I am actually an idiot. I know I say I'm an idiot a lot of the time, but I'm far from an idiot. And do you think that we don't know the same question asked by multiple accounts is just some gobshite trying to put me on the spot who doesn't like me trying to put me on the spot about Origi? I'll be very clear about Origi. He's not good enough. That's straight fucking facts. Now, whether you want to ask me another question from your 25 accounts, that's up to you. Like, I'll just spend my time here banning each one of the accounts, but, you know, I've never hidden behind the fact that I don't think Origi's good enough, and I'm not going to fucking change my mind about it now just because you're trying to put me on the spot from your multiple accounts, mate. I have a pair of balls, and I stand over what I say, so, yeah, basically he's not good enough, and that's that. And anybody who does think he's good enough, I think, is just fooling themselves. We've all had the moments, we've appreciated the moments, and he'll never be forgotten for those moments. But you don't live off moments, you don't live off past glories. Football is a world of, well, what have you done for me lately, really, if we're being honest about it. And the answer with Divock, unfortunately, is not enough. We should sign Moriba from Barcelona. We're reportedly willing to sell him for 20 million euros. Yeah, that is. There's no shortage of clubs queuing up for this guy, Moriba from Barcelona. He's 18 years of age, and I'm trying to remember if he's told the club he wants to move or if the club have told him they need to move him on. I can't remember in all good conscience which one of the two it is, but there was about 12 clubs looking at the guy. And he is a talent, but he's a Ghanaian international as well, by the way. Same as our own Naby. But if you're looking at somebody of that age, do you go, why wouldn't you just throw an extra few mil and try and really test Barcelona's resolve for Pedri? So go up to 40 or 50 million and see if they'll sell you Pedri. Because if they're in that much financial trouble, that's certainly the kid I'd be looking at Barcelona. And, you know, other 18-year-olds we've been linked to, obviously Ryan Gravenberch from Ajax was another player we're linked to of about that age. But, you know, we can't forget about Chouchou Bellingham for next summer, so you got to keep that in the back of your mind as well. My super chat, think you missed it. I could have, mate. Check betterhelp.com, an online therapist said calling Dr. Jones. Much appreciated, mate. And as always, super chat or not, you're going to get it whether you like it or not. Jones, calling Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, wake up now, Jones, calling Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, wake up now. There you are, mate, sorry. But thank you for the suggestion as well, mate. You're a top lad, much appreciated. And apologies for my horrendous singing, ladies and gentlemen, but it is what you get here on Anfield Agenda. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to have to make like a banana and split. But there's a dad joke for you, because I've got another video to record. But thank you for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow, which is Friday, with a late night agenda. My Burnley preview, which I'm about to record, will be out tomorrow as well, so please do check that one out. I'll be giving you my starting 11, my score prediction. Tell me if you agree or if you disagree. Don't forget to check out the video we put up around the transfers for this week. It's about 11 minutes long. Thank you to Manscaped as well, our sponsors. Don't forget to use the code WFM20 at checkout if you're going over to check out the Performance Package 4.0 or absolutely anything at manscaped.com. And most of all, thank you for your love towards Peter earlier on in the chat as well. It was a lovely moment in the stream tonight, which is what I'll take from tonight's stream. Again, just that reinforcement that you guys are fucking legends. So yeah, love to you all. And